Welcome to Knox Talks, the AI-generated podcast exploring the groundbreaking ways technology shapes our built environment. Today, we're diving into something hiding in plain sight on every equipment quote you've signed lately: refrigerants. And look, I know, the second someone says refrigerant phase down, half of you file it under, "That's mechanical's problem, not mine." But here's the case I want to make. This isn't just a mechanical story anymore. It's quietly become a controls problem, a BAS problem. And for operators and owners, it's a capital planning problem you may not have budgeted for yet. So let's back up. There's a federal law called the AIM Act, the American Innovation and Manufacturing Act, and it restricts the old high global warming refrigerants, the HFCs, like the R-410A you've known for years. Now, important nuance, the AIM Act doesn't instantly ban your existing ER410A systems. They can keep running and get serviced. What it does is restrict those higher GWP refrigerants in new equipment across many HVAC and refrigeration categories. So when you replace a unit, you're often stepping into a lower GWP refrigerant with what's called an A2L safety classification. You'll hear two names a lot: R-32 and R-454B. Quick decoder. That label's an ASHRAE safety class. The A means lower toxicity, the 2L means lower flammability, low burning velocity. So A2L isn't a chemical family, it's a safety rating. Mildly flammable. Not in the same risk category as propane, not something to sensationalize, but flammable enough that the codes treat it differently. And that's where it stops being a simple swap the gas conversation. Here's the part worth your attention. Some A2L equipment ships with refrigerant detection, leak sensors, plus a mitigation sequence. And those sensors don't just beep, they can trigger fans to disperse refrigerant, open dampers, shut down compressors, even de-energize duct heaters, all within defined response times. Now here's the nuance I want you to hear. Sometimes that whole sequence lives inside the unit's own factory controls. You don't touch it. But other times, the detection system has to trigger external fans, open remote dampers, raise alarms, or get monitored centrally. And the moment that's true, it becomes a controls and BAS coordination item, not just a mechanical one. New points, new sequences, new commissioning. There are real standards behind this. ASHRAE Standard 15 on refrigeration safety and product standards like UL 6 0335-2-40 for heat pumps and air conditioning equipment, which drive when leak detection and mitigation are required. The takeaway: your mechanical contractor and your controls contractor both need to be in the room, and on a lot of projects, they're just not. Now, money and the regulatory clock, because both are moving. On pricing, R-454B has been volatile. In 2025, trade reporting said Honeywell applied a 42% surcharge to R-454B orders, along with additional price increases, amid tariffs, supply bottlenecks, cylinder shortages, and surging demand. I'd skip the wilder prices tripled numbers from contractor forums, but the point stands: refrigerant cost is now a real budget variable, not an afterthought, and the rules keep shifting. EPA published a proposed reconsideration of its Technology Transitions Program in October 2025, then a final reconsideration rule in May of 2026. The dates and GWP limits vary by sector and equipment type, and some have moved. So don't assume last year's deadline summary still holds. So what do you actually do? Three things. First, inventory. Pull your chillers and rooftop units coming due for replacement, and for each ask, what refrigerant and safety class does the replacement model use? Does it need refrigerant detection? And does that detection interlock with my BAS? Or is it self-contained? That's a question for the manufacturer's applications engineer. A call to make early. Second, budget the controls integration now, not at install. If there's external coordination work, points, programming, commissioning that safety sequence, it's its own cost. And finding it late means a scramble and probably a change order. And third, track the compliance dates, but don't carve them in stone. Because EPA has recently reconsidered and amended pieces of the program, go by the current EPA table, not an old summary. Here's the shift I'll leave you with. For years, refrigerant was mechanical's department. You signed off, they handled the gas. Life moved on. A2L quietly changed that. Now it can touch your control sequences, your life safety design, your commissioning scope, and your capital budget. Sometimes all at once. And the buildings that handle this well won't be the ones with the newest equipment. They'll be the ones whose mechanical and controls teams were talking before the purchase order ever went out. So, maybe that's this week's conversation to start. Thanks for spending a few minutes on the refrigerant cliff. Now go check your replacement list. That's it for today.
Futuristic lights glow as tech thoughts flow. Innovation sparks bright in the shadows of